What a gorgeous night in Jersey. It's fucking nice out tonight. Anyway, I released Archaic Beauty, and it was a success, surprisingly. I'm always surprised when something sells. And I figured I would just document what I did behind. I kind of follow a little bit of a schedule on this one, and the schedule was start teasing it a month out, release a song 2 weeks out, and then really start hitting the socials for the last week. I did my best to try and keep up with that schedule, but I'd kind of laid a little low since the album came out in May. I had these songs ready before the album. What I wanted to do was to go back in and just kind of retweak a little bit, take away some of the trickery, and just have it to be really just raw. And it was rawer than the album, but I was really looking for the latest Satanic War Master type of grit, So I don't know if I quite achieved that, but I definitely managed to fucking get some of that grunt in there, which I was trying to achieve, and I was pretty fucking happy with it. And it took 48 hours. All the CDs are gone. I've got 3 tapes left. There was talk, I was talking to a guy overseas about sending some over there so the Europeans could get it at a cheaper price than what they did. A lot of them just bought from me directly, and I apologize to all of you because the postage prices are crazy. I wish I could do it another way, but I really like that release method. A month in from release, I just start teasing things here and there. I start dropping little pieces of the artwork, maybe a few cryptic things with dates, and I did try to actually, there's a talk, and look, I'm not a believer in anything, but there's talk about if you have some type of event around like a full moon, that it becomes, I don't know, people are just more active on that. And yeah, this could have been straight luck, but I did it on the night of the full moon. It came out the night of the full moon, and it just started fucking moving. It was crazy, and it didn't stop until, I would say, maybe about 2-3 hours ago. The CDs finished as of last night, so that was like 24 hours, and all the CDs had gone. Like I said, the tapes are down to the last, but yeah, I tried the full moon. I'm going to try and keep that again, see if I can fucking test the fate, test gods again, and see if we can fucking do something like that again. But it was a strong little EP, Gulf War, crucifying Jesus, how shitty fucking Islam is, and I was real fucking happy with it. I did all the artwork myself, the layouts were done myself, and the songs those 4 songs, the ones, let me start that again. The songs that were on Volume 1 were part of a bigger set that I'll release probably next year as Volume 2. and it's going to be a little bit more out of the box, and I purposely kind of separated it like that. This was going to be an album for Fomorian, but Fomorian's got a bunch of shit coming up between now and Halloween, so I wanted to get this out just to, you know, kind of throw something out there, scratch that creative itch. So all the artwork I did myself. Trying to get J cards to fit into a fucking tape thing is a fucking nightmare when you're looking at the bullshit technology that I'm using. But I did fucking some research and figured out how to fucking do it, so it can be done. The tapes were, this time, funnily enough, not as popular as the CDs, but I think that, you know, that's fair enough. They were a little bit more expensive. I tried to keep the CDs like right down to, you know, I think, what is it, $6.66. Thought that was a cool price. You know, and I packaged them up to look like little vinyls. You know, I just want to have a fucking product that is cool to look at. And the music, I believe 110% in. So if I can get something where the artwork is, or the look of the whole product is as cool as the music on it, to the best of my ability, then I'm happy with that release. And probably this one being the first one that I've been 100% happy with everything that's on it. Was production perfect? No, but it worked. It worked for that fucking thing. And I sent this out to a few of, you know, my personal friends. All I wanted from them was not a critique on it. I didn't really, though I was, you know, of course you're interested to hear what they say, but I was more interested in hearing what they thought it sounded like. Did it sound good? Did it sound like shit? I tried to do a mix that was very much going to work with analog, and it was a lot of fucking pulling down highs and cutting off lows and different things like that to try and make it not so boomy, to try and bring through that analog hiss. I didn't tell them what I was looking for, I just wanted them to tell me how it sounded. They all came back and said, it sounds great. The material's really good. And fuck, that made me even more excited to get it out. You know, so volume 2 is not going to be just a fucking repeat of that one. Volume 2 is a lot more, I don't want to say experimental, but it's definitely got some left-hand turns in it, which, you know, are cool as shit. And I think you'll fucking like them. I did stretch the old legs of the postal service and send some CDs, some stuff over to Norwegian Black Cult. If you're not watching that channel, you really need to get onto that. And he just did a whole video on Warhammer stuff, which is like fucking great, because he does normally, the shit that he normally reviews is like fucking out of this world. You know, way more involved than, you know, what I could ever be, but, you know, he was kind enough to do that. I think that helped. You know, I sent some to the UK. You know, I've got some friends over there that I know will talk about it. And I think as a takeaway, if you're going to release anything, before you throw it out, start sending it out, man. Start giving it to people who are going to talk. Definitely people who go to a lot of shows. Definitely some friends that you trust their opinion. You know, as far as anything crazy, didn't really worry about it. Just a few Instagram posts. Didn't get on YouTube and try to discuss it. I really wanted to see if going that cult angle, not talking about it, just letting the music and the pictures provide some anticipation. I much prefer that method. I don't like having to get on there and talk about my stuff. I have to, I guess, in this day and age. I can't do record reviews because, quite frankly, I just haven't got the, you know, the concentration to sit there and pull these things apart. You know, I can say I like them. I can't really tell you why I like them. You know, I just like what I like. No one wants to hear that shit, especially considering that, you know, I don't listen to a ton of new stuff. So for me to just go out and buy new stuff. However, what I have been doing is trying to get into some dungeon synth because, quite frankly, I love the whole aesthetic of dungeon synth. I'm not a big fan of the music, though. I think, like with black metal, you've got to kind of tune your ear to it. And I do play a ton of computer games, did as a kid, so I don't understand why I'm not into it. I think it's more or less the people that I hear talk about it when they're, as you know, the musicians in that scene all sound like a bunch of fucking tools. But I did find a Russian one from out of season that I got, which was fucking amazing. So I might show that on an Instagram post or something, just so you can, because I don't know what the fucking name of it is. It just looked really cool. The artwork was fucking stellar. You know, very simple, very minimalistic. And I really, really liked that, which made me want to do a tape that was in that color scheme. Though I picked a different color, I just definitely wanted to run with some type of color scheme and then swap that out on the next one, you know. I was lucky enough to, because I had that very quick pop of people purchasing, I was lucky enough to get onto the Bandcamp like discovery page, and then it was autopilot. It was just like the followers went through the roof, or the plays went through the roof. And I don't know really how Bandcamp works. I don't know if being the plays, it just throws you more into people's discoveries, but it must in some way, like Spotify, I guess. I just started getting a lot of fucking notifications through Bandcamp, and it was 50-50. It was followers, cha-ching, followers, cha-ching, you know. So it was, something happened, and I was talking to Miss A about it. I'm like, something's going on, and I'm trying to flick through YouTube to see if anyone's talking about it. I don't know how, because no one would have had it yet. So I didn't know what was going on, but there was just people popping up. Now, the socials didn't really do anything, but the Bandcamps did. YouTube's didn't do anything. Bandcamps did. The Bandcamp was moving. And I also found this fucking great feature in the Bandcamp, the artist app, that if you go into each physical media, I guess, title that you have, you can tap on it and it'll show you where the people are coming from. And it was quite surprising to see that there was quite a few people who came through Metal Archive. So if you've kind of let Metal Archive slip, do not do that, because that seems to be a source of where people get to you from. I do have a link on there, but fuck, I've never done that before in my life, so that was kind of cool to know. And then there was a few Google searches. Like, that's a weird way, because, you know, I guess I can't be the first one that comes up, but maybe I am at that point. I've never tried it, never tried to Google myself. But yeah, once the Bandcamp front page, that fucking discovery thing hit, man, that was kick fucking ass. That was a really nice surprise. And not just the Archaic Brutality got on there, but the Never Stop Burning CD, which I just kind of threw out under it, that got out. That got on there as well, so people picked that up, and people were picking up the cassette and the CD, which blows my mind, because, you know, that's $15, I guess, that you have to save, you know, fucking spend on me. I always find that weird when someone spends money on me, because it's like you can buy fucking anyone's release, but I'm happy you bought mine. But it's just always really kind of humbling and fucking, oh God, now I hope they like it, you know. So if you can get some just very basic promotion that's very strategically targeted, building up to your release, I think that shit works without having to get on the internet and sell your soul. I think it can be done in that quote unquote cult way, which I fucking feel like such a fucking cringe. I get douche chills when I say that fucking word, but for lack of a better term, acting all cult, not getting on the internet, not talking about it, and just putting it out there. Now, it probably wouldn't happen for your first one, but you can do it. You build up a little bit of a base, and they're the people that are going to come back, and they're going to continue, and you got to look after them, man. You got to fucking give them some shit. You got to fucking make that shit a good price. You're going to lose your shirt on some stuff, but it's like, as long as people are hearing it and saying your name. And twofold, I guess, some people will throw it on the internet and tag us in it, and that's going to be another piece of promotion. So, you know, I'm going to let this thing ride it out. Do I want to repress? I want to move on. Like, I want to do something else. Like, I want to do the next thing, you know. And right now I'm just taking a bit of a break because we're getting ready to do the Torso Heap cassette, which is going to be awesome. The Devil Goat CD, which is ready to go. So I'm going to preoccupy myself with that, and then Halloween we start this bullshit again. So whatever the fuck you're doing, wherever you are, Sunday night, it's a gorgeous fucking night here, and I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes, so I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Cheers.